Raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Please walk right around here and have a seat. You may proceed.
May I have your name, please?
Marie Hall.
And drawing your attention back to June of 2008, did you happen to know an individual by the name of Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did.
And how did you meet him?
I met him through church,
What church was that?
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It was at a singles ward.
Are they also known as Mormons?
Yes,
And how long have you been practicing Mormon?
my whole life.
And how was it that you met him? You said you met him through church, but explain to me how it was that you met him.
I gave a talk in the church service on a Sunday, and he came up to me afterward and commented on how well I did.
When was that approximately?
Approximately January or February of 2008.
And after he had that conversation with you, did you continue to see him?
Yes.
How often would you see him?
He asked me out a couple of times. I think we went on 3 dates. And
I know that, but I mean, did he ask you out immediately, or did he, that first time that he met you then, or how did that
No.
progress?
I would see him every Sunday at church, and then we had weekly activities. And so he probably asked me out a couple of weeks after he commented on my talk.
These activities that you're talking about with church, what were they?
They were church single adult activities, so we would either, there was a family home evening, so every Monday we would meet for a spiritual thought and just a socializing time, and then we would have service activities or just fun activities.
Let me ask you about the singles activities. You said that were those on any given date, or was that any time, or how did those work?
The activities were usually weekly. The most consistent ones that we would have would be Monday night for a family home evening, we called it.
That's also known as FHE, correct?
Yes.
And the family home evening, what time does that start?
7:30,
And what time does it normally end?
about 8:30.
About what time?
8:30.
And during this time of family home evening, it implies that, by the word family, that your whole family is there. I thought that you told me or said something about singles ward or something. Are they the same thing, or is this something different, or what's going on?
So, growing up in a family, the church set aside a time for families to meet, to have a little gathering at home where they share a spiritual thought. But in the singles ward, they just have, there's obviously no families in the singles ward. It's just single adults from the age of 18 to 31. They will meet every Monday as if they were a big family. And
As I understand it, what you're saying, though, even though you're calling it a family home evening, what you're telling me is if you're in the singles ward, it's just a bunch of singles.
yeah, it's a meet and greet type of thing.
And what was the ages involved here?
18 to 31.
And what happens to a single who hasn't married after the age of 31?
They go to a family ward. Typically, they go to a family ward. So, like me, I'm 33. I'm in a family ward now.
What does that mean?
Well, people who are married, people who are single, just everyone goes to the same ward. If you're a single adult over 31, you would go to a family ward now, unless you have an older single ward in your area of where you live.
What do the activities that are in the single wards, do they differ from the family ward post 31?
Yes.
How so?
Well, you're not going out. The family ward doesn't meet together every Monday night for family home evening. That's just done individually on a family by family basis. Sometimes you'll have big activities with the ward where you might go to a lake and have a barbecue, but usually that's done with single adults. And then both a single adult ward and a family ward will do service projects
Well, let me ask you about the single award activity. In describing it, it just seems to me that that's more of a social kind of approach to things with religion mixed in. Would that be fair or not?
Yeah, that's fair.
And what kind of social activities does those in the single ward, what do they engage in?
Okay. We would go to, maybe we would go ice skating all together, or we would go to a lake or have a barbecue, or we would go to someone's house, and typically there's a spiritual thought, maybe a scripture read, and someone's personal experience with that, and that's usually like 10 minutes, and then we just have fun. And for singles ward, it's an area for people to meet each other, get to know each other, possibly make a connection where they start dating and eventually get married.
These singles wards that we're talking about, is there one singles ward for all of Mesa, a singles ward for Tempe, or what are the geographical lines, if you will, for a singles ward?
Yeah, so they're broken up geographically, usually for convenience sake, so that you have one close in your neighborhood that you can go to. I don't know, how they determine the boundaries as far as what the distance is, but they're usually pretty small. And at least in Mesa, Gilbert area, there are several single adults. They have even single adult stakes. So.
Let me ask you about the single ward that you were in back in 2008. Did that have like a name or a geographical name?
Yeah.
What was it called? Hold on, I have to ask a question. You can't take over this time. What was that?
The name of our ward was Desert Ridge Ward at the time, and then it was changed to Indigo Bay.
But it was Desert Ridge back then,
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, that's
You can't
correct.
take it.
Yes.
And with regard to that ward that you were in, how many singles would you say was in there?
Several hundred.
How many?
Several hundred.
And would they all meet at the same time on Mondays for the family home evenings, or is it something that different?
Yeah, sometimes we would meet in smaller groups, but for the most part we would all meet together. Not everyone would show up every Monday, so you're looking at a group of maybe 50 to 100 people showing up every Monday.
And would there be a situation where people from your single ward, the Desert Ridge one, would they, for example, associate with members from another singles ward?
Yeah, you could do that.
Were you familiar with the university singles ward or not?
Yes.
And how far away, geographically speaking, was the one at the university from yours?
You mean mile-wise, or just time?
Yeah, sure.
It would probably 10 miles, 5 to 10 miles away.
5-10 miles away?
Yeah.
And as to which ward you belong, is that determined by a place of residence, or is that a choice that is made by the person who's going to be in the singles ward?
It's set up to be by a place of residence. So if you live, Travis and I lived in the same neighborhood, and so we went to the same singles ward.
You mentioned that he complimented some sort of presentation that you made. Was that presentation made as part of the singles ward family home evening, or was that made as part of your presentation of something else?
That was, he commented on a talk that I gave during our sacrament meeting, which is on Sunday.
So that's not the same as the singles ward meeting and all that stuff, right? That's church, right?
Right, that's church.
And that was on a Sunday, right?
That was on a Sunday, yes.
And he came up to you after one of those talks, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And after that is when he asked you sometime after that, right?
Yeah.
And was it at this singles meetings that he asked you, or how did that come about? If you remember.
I don't remember if he called me or if he asked me at one of the meetings. I don't remember.
And did you agree to go out with him?
Yes.
And describe for me the date. Did he come to your house? Did he take you somewhere? Why don't you just tell me a little bit about the date?
I believe we went to dinner, and we went to Barnes & Noble, a bookstore, and had some hot chocolate.
And about what time did the date start?
Probably about 7:30,
And about what time did it end?
about 10:30.
So it's a total of 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
And during that time, did you develop any feelings for him? Were there any sparks there? Tell me about how you felt during this day.
I thought he was a really nice guy, but I didn't have any sparks.
And did you let him know about that?
I just by the first date, no.
Yes, the first date, that's
No.
what we're talking about.
I just kind of, just by the way you act with someone when you're not quite as interested in them. So
And during that date, did Mr. Alexander say anything sexually inappropriate to you at all?
no,
And any time during that date, did he kiss you?
no,
Did he try to kiss you when he dropped you off?
no,
And at any time, did he reach out to hold your hand or do anything like that?
no. At the most, he gave me a hug goodnight, like an awkward hug.
How did you leave the date? Did you guys agree that you were going to go out again, or what happened?
Just typical where, I had a great time, thank you very much, we should go out sometime, okay, sure, that kind of thing. But shortly after I started,
But you didn't really want to go out with them, right?
no,
Okay. After that, did you start seeing somebody else?
yes,
And about when was that you started to see this other individual?
within a matter of like a week or two, I had gone out with probably the other individual once before, and so we started going out more often.
Okay. And was this person also in the singles ward or no?
He was in a singles ward, but not in our singles ward. I
Right.
met him through another friend.
But he was also Mormon, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
How long did you continue to see this other individual?
Just a couple of weeks.
So after a couple of weeks, you and this other individual broke up again, I guess, or stopped seeing each other, right?
That's correct.
And after that, as it applies to Mr. Alexander, did you approach him or did he approach you?
He approached me.
And any idea of the date, more or less, when it was?
I would say it was in mid-February, March, maybe.
And during that time that he approached you, whether it's mid-February or mid-March, what happened? Did he ask you out or what happened? Tell me what happened.
Yes, he asked me out, and we went on another date. We went and
Do you know whether or not he knew about this other individual that you'd gone out with?
I had told him because he had asked me out before. I told him that I had started dating someone else,
Okay.
and so he backed off. And then when I broke up, he found out, I'm assuming, and started trying to ask me out again.
So when you told him that you were seeing this other individual, was he upset? Did he start raising his voice and curse or anything like that?
No.
What was his reaction when you said, I'm seeing somebody else?
He was very sweet and respectful and totally understood.
Did you and him ever text each other?
Yes.
How about emails? Did you exchange those?
Yes.
After you told him that you were going to see this other individual, did he send you text messages calling you, I don't know, disparaging names, bad names?
No.
But did he continue to text with you?
Yes.
How about emails? Did you and he continue to correspond through email?
Yes.
And did he ever send you any emails calling you names or accusing you of things?
Not at all. No.
So he reapproaches you again after you're done with this relationship, and you say that could be February or March of 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes. Mhm.
And where do you go on this date?
We went to a place where you paint pottery, and I made a bowl.
All right. And what town was this in?
Mesa.
What time did he pick you up?
7:30, typical time probably.
And how long were you out with him?
Just a couple of hours, probably 3 hours.
And what happened after the two of you were done painting this pottery?
He took me home.
And during the time that you were with him that day, did he ever curse at all?
No.
During that time, did he make any sexual advances, whether they were wanted or unwanted?
No, I felt very safe with Travis. He was, very respectful. There was never anything like that.
At any time, did he curse at you, or you see that, show any temper during that time?
No.
And at the end of the day, did you and he, again, engage in what may be customary, I don't know, touching, kissing, that sort of thing?
No, and again, it would just be an awkward hug goodnight. That was the extent of anything.
And during that time, did you ever indicate to him that maybe the sparks weren't there for you?
Not on the date, no.
No. And at any time after that, did you tell him that? Or did you continue going out?
We went out one other time, and
All right.
then at that point, you know, I was trying, he was a really fun guy. I was trying to get to know him, and I didn't want to write him off too soon. So, but after the third date, you know, I let him know that I just wanted to be friends.
The third date, when was that you went on the third date?
It would have been in March, and we went rock climbing.
And where was this place that you went rock climbing?
The Phoenix Rock Gym in Tempe.
And was this also starting at 7:30, or did this start at a different time?
I don't recall exactly, but I would assume it would have been early evening, 7.
And know about how much time you spent with him?
Again, just a couple of hours, just, you know.
And again, at any time during this date, did he make any sexual advances towards you?
None.
Did he attempt to kiss you as the date was done?
No.
Did he attempt to kiss you when he first saw you?
No.
Did he attempt to kiss you not on the lips, but like the forehead or something?
No.
During this date, is that when you, after this date or during this date, is that when you let him know that perhaps he's not for you?
After the date, yes, I let
How did you do that?
I don't remember if it was through a phone or in person, but I let him know that, you know, I just wanted to be friends.
But it was verbal, in other
It was
words.
verbal, yes.
Okay. And is that what you said, I just want to be friends, or did you say anything else?
I don't remember exactly what I said word for word.
What was his reaction to you telling him?
He understood, and he actually thanked me for telling him.
He actually what?
Thanked me for telling him directly, you know, so that he knew where he stood, and I mean, he was respectful about the whole thing. So.
Did he ever tell you why he thought you and he would make a good match or anything like that, or no?
No.
So, after that, did you continue to stay in contact with him or not?
Yes, we continued on being friends, and
How did that manifest itself? How did you keep in touch with him?
we would continue to see each other at church. I started a book and film club.
A what?
A book and film club.
Okay.
So our first meeting we had at his house. He had a movie projector, and it was, you know, a fun friendship, and yeah.
And at any time during this friendship, as it went along, did he ever, berate you in any way?
No, I'm not sure what berate means. I'm sorry.
Did he at any time scream at you, that sort of thing?
No.
Where do you work at now?
I work for JP Morgan Chase.
And have you attended college?
Yes,
Where did you graduate from?
Brigham Young University.
Where?
Brigham Young, BYU.
All right. And with regard to the Mormon faith, what is their belief with regard to sexual contact before marriage?
It's a very serious sin, and one that you could lose your good standing in church for. You could even become excommunicated for it.
What does excommunicated mean?
In the church, you know, a member in good standing holds callings where they, you know, do service for other ward members, other people. They attend the temple.
Okay.
Being excommunicated means that you lose your privileges to be able to do those, and you lose your member records. You're no longer a member of the church. To become a member again, you would have to repent, go through a process, be rebaptized.
These rules that you've been describing to me, do they apply differently? Or they apply differently to somebody who has joined the church later in life as opposed to somebody like you who has always been in the church?
Objection Foundation, this is expert testimony.
I'll overrule the answer if you know.
Okay. So if I understand you, do they apply differently depending on how long you've been in the church?
Right, whether or not you converted later on or not.
No, they apply the same to every person.
So, in this issue of excommunication, what is that? What is that?
Excommunication?
Yeah.
It's where you lose your, basically your names are taken off the records of the church. You're no longer a member of the church. So you can still come to church, but in order to become a member again, you have to go through a repentance process, stop doing what you're doing, repent between you and the Lord, and there's different steps that you have to go through that. And then in order to come back to the church, you need to be rebaptized to the church.
This repentance process, and again, in your knowledge, does it mean that, for example, you can engage in sexual intercourse today, go repent tomorrow, engage in sexual intercourse tomorrow, repent tomorrow, and keep doing that? Is that what we're talking about? Or is it something different than that?
No, I mean, you would have to give up that sin completely. It's something you would have to change in yourself. You can't, no, you would not be able to do that.
So, for example, if the defendant were engaged in sexual intercourse and it was outside of marriage, would she potentially face this excommunication if she were to the Mormon church?
Objection and cause for speculation in this expert testimony.
Sustained is phrased.
Ma'am, you're familiar with the process, aren't you?
Yes,
Does it apply to everybody?
it does.
And how long have you been schooled in the practices as to what leads to excommunication?
Ever since, we're taught as children the things right and wrong, the commandments of God, we're taught to obey, and we know, and I was born in the church, so since I was a child, I've been taught these things.
So if an individual, for example, is a female and engages in sexual intercourse, are they subject to the same sanctions, i.e. excommunication?
Yes,
So gender has nothing to do with whether or not there's any punishment for this, right?
that's correct.
So it isn't, so if two people engage in this act of sexual intercourse, they're in there independently, right?
Right.
The issue of repenting, how do they repent? How does somebody repent in the Mormon church? You may have mentioned something about a bishop. Explain to me what we're talking about there.
Okay. To repent of a sin, you need to take certain steps. Confession. You need to stop doing it. You need to usually sacrifice or give something up. So every Sunday, if you're in good standing, you can partake of the sacrament. And so you yourself wouldn't want to decide, like an individual can't decide exactly what steps they have to go through. It's they have to go to a bishop, which is the church, the leader of the congregation of each ward. It's a congregation. They have to go to the bishop, confess their sin. The bishop is, a volunteer, someone who's called, we believe he's called of God, and has inspiration from God to help them work through their repentance process. So if they have an addiction, or they need help and they need to seek professional counseling or something, they will help them get into that. But it's a very what's the word? It's very private. That the bishop does not talk about what they've done with anyone else. It's very yeah. So that's what the bishop does.
All right. Now, so you then had this third date with Mr. Alexander. After that, you indicated that you continued to communicate with him, right?
Yeah.
And what was the methods that you guys communicated? Tell me.
The
Phone?
Yeah, just like friends, like through phone, text. I would hear from him almost every day through a phone call, a text, or see him, or an email. He was very interested in becoming good friends, and so he was working on that, and I had a good time with him, and I was having fun, so, it wasn't anything.
Did there come a time that he asked you to go somewhere? Mm-hmm. And where is it that he asked you to go?
He asked me to go to Cancun with him. He won a trip
All right, when you say you won a trip, who did he win the trip with?
through his work.
Do you know who he worked for?
I don't. Mm-mm.
So he wins this trip and he asks you to go with him. When did he ask you to go with him?
In May, sometime in May.
2008?
Yes, of 2008.
But you've told me now, or before, that you really didn't like him, there weren't any sparks there. Did you agree to go with him?
Yes.
Immediately when he asked you or not?
Well, when he first asked me, I told him I wanted to think about it. I was concerned, just because I knew he did like me a little bit more than I liked him. You know, I was just friends. But also, he let me know that we would be staying with a family, an LDS family, and I would be sharing a room with one of their daughters, a little girl. And it was at a place where I had been to several times before. So I felt comfortable. I knew Travis, and I knew myself. I knew nothing, you know, would happen. Plus, he told me that it was free. Everything was free. So after I thought about it for a while, I agreed to go because it sounded like a lot of fun.
So how much time elapsed between the time that he asked you and the time that you said, yeah, I'll go with you?
Probably just a couple of days.
And generally, do you have any idea when that would have been? I know you said May, but can you refine it a little bit more or not?
Beginning of May, I don't know exactly what day.
And did you then continue having more or less contact with him, or just continue having contact as before, where he would either call you or you'd see him?
Yeah, I mean, we would see each other at church. We went on a church camp out for the singles ward. We went on a camp out.
Where did you go for this camp out?
It was up near Payson.
And did Travis go?
Yeah,
And do you know if he went with anybody or just a bunch of singles?
just a bunch of singles.
Was
We
that
got
in
up
May?
Separate cars. Yeah.
And I've got to ask, I guess, about the sleeping arrangements. Did everybody sleep in the
Girls and guys were separated. Yeah, so girls had cabins. Guys slept outside, either in tents or there was a platform where they could.
And during that time, how long were you in Mr. Alexander's presence? In other words, that he was around you?
During the camp out?
Yeah, how long was the camp out, I guess?
That was just like a night and a day. So like a Friday night, and we hung out Saturday, drove home Saturday.
And was there ever any indication that Mr. Alexander was involved with any of the women there, chasing them around or anything like that?
No,
There ever any indication that he was saying anything inappropriate to any women there?
no,
So the time for the trip approaches, correct?
yes.
And did you continue to have contact with him?
Yes, up until about a week before we found him, I spoke to him.
And do you have an idea about the date that you actually, about the last time that you talked to him?
It would have been, so we found him on June 9th, the evening of June 9th, and I remember seeing him the Monday before that, which would have been the 2nd.
Okay,
June 2nd.
so a week before you saw him, and after that, did he continue to email you or not, or did he just go silent?
He just went silent.
So the trip is approaching, and you're not hearing from him. Do you do something on July 9th?
June 9th.
I'm sorry, June 9th, correct.
Yeah, so I went to our family home evening group. It was normal.
Is this the singles group again?
Yes,
Okay, and about what time did that start?
7:30,
And how long did it last?
about till 8:30.
And then what did you do?
A friend of mine had just had surgery, so I went to visit with her. In the meantime, I had tried calling and texting him because I didn't see him at church on Sunday. We were supposed to go on this trip the next day, and I hadn't heard from him, so I texted him. He didn't respond, and then he wasn't at the family home evening group, so I started to become worried, and decided after I visited my friend that I would go to his house.
Okay, and did you go to his house?
Yes, on the way to his house, I started getting really worried because I called and it went straight to voicemail. I called and had my mom on the other line just because I was scared that something might be happening to him because I knew that he had a stalker.
So, at least you had heard he had a stalker, correct?
Yes,
or no?
yes, yes.
And so you were afraid when you went over there, and that's why you had your mom on the line.
Yeah, I had suspicions that something
Right.
was going on.
So you had suspicions. So what happened, about what time do you get over there?
This would probably be right around 9:30.
All right, and explain to me what happens when you get there.
I pulled up and there was a car in the driveway. I didn't know whose car it was. There was a light on upstairs, and I went to the door and knocked on it. Nobody answered. The dog jumped up on the door and looked.
Do you know the dog's name?
Napoleon.
And what's the color of the dog?
The color?
Yeah.
White and black.
All right. Is it a bigger or smaller dog?
It's just a tiny little dog.
All right. And so this dog is there. Explain to me what the dog's doing when you're knocking on the door.
He looked really upset and he was jumping at the door and barking.
And how long were you there trying to get into the house?
Just, a couple of minutes. I banged on the door, rang the doorbell over and over again. Nobody answered. So my mom and my sister were on the other line with me, and my sister suggested I call somebody that Travis knew to see if they had seen him around.
And who's this person that was suggested to you?
She just suggested I call a friend. So I called Michelle Lowry, a friend of Travis's, and a mutual friend of ours.
All right, so you call Michelle, and you and she agree on how to proceed. What to do?
Yeah, so she decided to call Travis's her best friend, which was her ex-boyfriend, and I ran home because I lived really close by to see if he had emailed me or Facebook messaged me.
And had he?
No, he had not.
What did you do?
I tried to send him a message. I later found out that it went to the wrong Travis, but I tried to send him a message on that.
And so you went home, you did that, then what happened?
Okay, and so then at that point, Michelle and I went and met at his house again. Michelle brought her boyfriend, and she was on the other line with Travis's best friend. And so her boyfriend went and knocked on the door again, rang the doorbell. I mean, he was pounding on the door.
And when this was going on, what was the dog doing?
Barking at the door.
All right. And how long did this go on, this pounding, this banging?
A minute or two.
Were you able to see from the outside whether or not any lights were on inside?
It was the same as when I had we drove up the first time. So there was a light on upstairs. That same car was in the driveway.
All right. Then what happened?
So his friend, Travis's friend on the phone, suggested that we go in through the garage and look for him in the house. And he had the garage code, so he
So
gave
the
it to me.
person on the phone who was talking to him?
Michelle was talking to him.
That Michelle was talking to had the garage access code.
Yes,
And that was given to Michelle.
yes.
So what happens then?
We opened the garage and his car and bike were there.
What kind of car?
A Prius.
Then what happened?
I'm sorry. So we went into the house
Okay.
through the garage door.
And what is the first room that you came to?
The laundry room. There was a washer and dryer right to our right,
Did any of you look at those?
and just noticed that it was a washer and dryer.
So that means you're walking in straight, so to speak, right?
Right.
And then where did you go, left or right?
Left.
What happened then?
His office was. So after we turned left, his office was on the right-hand side, and the door was shut. And the friend on the other line suggested that we open the door. So we opened the door slowly. The light was out, but his laptop was on his desk. It was open, but like in a sleep mode. The little light on it was flashing.
Okay. What happened then? What did you do?
There was a bathroom on the left side, and I looked inside the bathroom and checked inside the shower to make sure no one was hiding in the shower.
And did you find anything?
No.
Where did you guys go after that?
We went straight, which led us into a family area. There's a family room area, a kitchen, and there was a vacuum cleaner right in the middle of the floor.
Did you see whether or not it was plugged in, or it was just in the middle of the floor?
It was just in the middle of the floor.
What happened then? Well, at this point, is the dog with you guys now, or?
The dog came up to us and had to run back and forth. When we first walked in, it smelled really bad, and so I assumed that the dog had an accident or something. So he was, the dog was with us.
Okay. Then what happened?
Then we went up the stairs. So we, peeked our head into the other room, it was all pretty open, and no one was in the front room. So we went up the stairs, and his bedroom is
As you're going upstairs, did you notice whether or not there was any odor?
It just was throughout the whole house. I noticed it when we first walked into the house. That's when I noticed it, and then it was always there. So.
Okay, and then walking up the stairs, what happens?
So we walked up the stairs, and the way that the house is set, at the very top of the stairs to the left was his bedroom door, and it was a double door type of thing, but it was shut and it was locked. We tried to go in there, but it was locked.
Did you guys knock at that door too, or no?
Yeah, we knocked on the door.
How did you know that was his room?
From the book and film club that we had, the movie theater is just right there. So his bedroom's there, movie theater's there, and he had, when we were all there, he had shown us his room.
All right, then, so now you're at this door, it's locked, what do you guys do?
The boyfriend of my friend Michelle was there, and he heard music, and we went over to the door. Well, he went over to the door where there was music coming out. It was a different bedroom in the house, and he knocked on the door, and a roommate came out.
And what happened then?
We told him that we couldn't find Travis. We were worried. He found a key to his bedroom, and he and the boyfriend went into the bedroom.
About what time was this now?
Probably around 10.
Right. Did you go into that bedroom when they went in or not?
No, Michelle and I stayed outside of the bedroom. At first they walked in and they were looking, so they were right in front of us and they were looking kind of this way. And so at first I was following their gaze through the crack of the door because I could see the room through the crack of the door. And then as soon as they said that they saw blood, that there's blood everywhere, I stopped looking. And then they went further into the room.
And did they eventually come out, or was it a short stint inside, or was it long? Were they in there a long time?
It didn't seem very long. They went in, and then the roommate ran out and said, he's dead, he's dead. And so immediately I called the police and ran downstairs and out the front door so that I could get the address of the house.
All right. After this, was there some sort of service for Mr. Alexander here in the Mesa area?
Yeah, just a few days later, there was a memorial service for
Do you
him.
remember what day of the week it was?
I don't remember exactly. It would have been a Thursday, I would assume, because this was a Monday night. So
Right.
Wednesday, Thursday.
When I ask about the memorial service, was the body there or not? At the memorial service?
No.
No? It was just a memorial service then?
Yeah.
And where was this service held?
This was at the church building where we went to church every Sunday. In Mesa, it's off Guadalupe and the 202 area.
And while you were there, well, when did it start? What time?
I don't remember exactly. In the evening, 7 o'clock.
And were there a lot of people there? Just give a yes or no.
Yes, there were a lot of people.
And of all the people that were there, was there somebody by the name of Jodi Arias?
Yes.
And is the person that you knew as Jodi Arias, is she in court today?
Yes.
Tell me where she is seated and what she is wearing.
She's seated over there at the end of the table. and I can't see her clearly, but she's wearing black and she has dark hair.
Is she at the extreme end?
Yes.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the identification of the defendant?
Yes.
So, you see the defendant there, and do you go up to her, or does she go up to you?
She came up to me and introduced herself to me.
What did she say?
She said, "Are you Mimi Hall?" I go by Mimi. That's
All
my
right.
nickname. And I said yes. And she introduced herself as Jodi Arias.
And did she say anything else?
I asked her how she was doing, and she said she was upset. And so that was about it, though.
Did at any time she say, "I'm the person who killed him," or anything like that?
No.
Did she ever tell you why she was there?
No.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I want to begin, if I heard correctly, when you were talking to counsel for the state, you advised him you were 33 years old, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if I also heard you correctly, you said you were, I believe the phrase you used was born into the church.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you went to Brigham Young University,
Yes.
and that is a institution supported by that church, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What I wanted to do to begin with is just talk to you a little bit about, the state asked you a little bit about the structure of the church, the repentance process, everything of that nature. I kind of want to talk a little bit about that first of all, okay?
Okay.
Okay. You mentioned to us that there were various wards that the church is broken down to. Is that correct?
Various wards, is that what?
Wards, yes. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The
that's
mic
correct.
is low,
Yeah.
and I'm tall, so if you have trouble hearing me, please let me know.
Okay, yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you said that those are geographical boundaries that determine a particular ward, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe what you also told us was that you weren't aware of how those boundaries were drawn.
Not exactly. I just know that it's for convenience sake, they try to get, the boundaries done so that you can get to a ward that's close by to you.
Okay. And do you know if any ward boundaries overlap at all? Do you have any knowledge of that?
Sometimes, yeah, I've heard of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does each ward contain one church, or do sometimes wards contain more than one church?
Do you mean like a building, a ward building?
Yeah, a church of services where,
Yeah. So we have church buildings, and usually you will have up to 3, maybe 5 wards will meet there every Sunday.
and I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So yes, in each church building, several wards will meet there every Sunday. So they're divided into 3-hour service blocks.
Okay.
And so, some ward will start at 8 o'clock and go to 11. Another ward will come in from 11:30 to, and so on, so
Okay.
throughout the day.
I see. Okay. And when you talk about your wards, where you talked about single and family ward, and I believe you told us the year where you cross over to that is 31 years old from you moved as single to a family?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And so the wards aren't necessarily tied to a particular church, they're just tied to that particular area. Is that correct?
The single, I guess I don't understand your question.
Okay, and maybe I didn't phrase it very well, but the wards aren't tied to maybe one particular church within that ward. It could be, it's a bigger area, I guess is my point.
The ward building, yeah, so is, you'll have different, so the ward building isn't tied to one single ward boundary. So
Okay.
you'll have different wards within a geographical area, and so you'll have maybe, I don't know, you'll have several wards within what we call a stake. And
Okay.
so that's how the church is kind of set up. So you have an individual ward, but throughout the entire church, you have stakes, and then you have regions, and then you have different countries, and so all the way through the whole church.
And did you say, just so I want to make, did you say stakes or states?
Stakes.
Okay.
Like STAK.
And that is, a stake in your church is more than one ward?
Right.
It's a group, collection of wards?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you started talking with Mr. Martinez about, he asked you about the repentance process and excommunication, do you recall that discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you, let me begin by asking you this, because we've talked a little bit about wards. Is there one particular person that's in charge of a ward, or is there several?
So you have a bishop who's basically in charge of the spiritual, temporal well-being of a ward of the congregation.
Okay.
And then, like I said earlier, you have several wards within a stake. Then you have a stake president who's kind of over all of the wards, who make sure that the bishops are able to meet the needs of the individual ward members. And there are other callings within the church. So you have a Relief Society, which is an organization for sisters in the wards.
Okay.
And so on. So it's just set up so that people's needs are being met spiritually and temporally. And
Okay.
you have a bishop and a stake president.
All right. Thank you. Now, if I understood you correctly as well, if one of, and I don't even know, members of the ward, would that be the correct term? Or is
Yes,
there no- okay.
yeah.
One of the members of the ward were to do something that was sanctionable or a sin or whatever word you want to put on it. And forgive me if I'm using the wrong word, the punishment would be decided upon by that bishop. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. It depends on, the sin, what exactly happened. Sometimes they go to so like the bishop will determine if they need to meet with a disciplinary council, which might be held it might be the bishop and his counselors, or it might be even the stake president, their counselors, things like that. But yes, the individual and the bishop meet together and decide, they kind of work together through the repentance process. He's someone who's very loving and open and helpful and, there to help out, so.
Okay. So you say loving and helpful, it's not, in your mind anyway, an act of condemnation that the bishop would put upon a person who said that they sin?
No, the judging, they kind of act as far as like what needs to be done. They help determine, what the repentance process steps would be. But ultimately the judging is between, God and the individual and their own repentance. And where their heart is and what they do. I don't know, the exact intricate details of it. I haven't had
Okay.
to go into that, and I haven't really talked to anybody who has gone through that
Okay. So.
about that.
Oh, okay. If I understand you correctly, then the way you phrased it, that ultimately in your church, God would be the ultimate judge of the sin, but the bishop would detail out a repentance process.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, and you may have already alluded to, you kind of mentioned you didn't know the intricate details of this, but if someone in the church had sinned and another member knew about it, would they be obligated to tell the bishop? How would that work?
If it were something that were, putting someone in danger, if like let's say it was abuse or something, I would feel like that person would be obligated to tell somebody what was happening. But it's up to the individual to go in and talk to the bishop. If it's blatant and open, usually the bishop will probably call them in and
Okay.
ask to talk to them. But yeah, it's between the individual, and it's up to them, when they feel like they need to repent, to go and make an appointment with their bishop.
Okay. So if someone is sinning and nobody else knows about it, the bishop wouldn't necessarily have a mechanism to find out unless that person chose, the person who was committing the sin chose to go address it with their bishop. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, probably not.
Sorry.
It would be the obligation, really, because there's no mechanism in place. For example, you said, well, if somebody's safety was in jeopardy, you might feel compelled to talk to your bishop, right?
Yeah, or an authority
Okay.
figure. Yeah, like a
Right.
police officer or something.
But I guess what I'm saying, it sounds to me like in your church, if somebody was sinning, it would be incumbent upon them they would be expected perhaps to go talk to the bishop. They're
Yeah.
the ones that are supposed to deal with that, not
Yeah.
anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, that's what true repentance is if someone feels bad about what they're doing and they want to stop, they will make that call. They'll, get on their knees, repent, go and talk to the bishop, and go start the repentance process.
Okay.
They can't just say, oh, I'm sorry, I won't do this again. If it's a serious sin, they can't just say,
Right.
okay, I'm never going to do this again, I'm fine. And then tomorrow do it again. That's not truly repenting, if that makes sense. Repenting
Yeah.
is changing your ways.
Okay.
So,
Let me ask you, because you just mentioned the seriousness of a sin. How serious within the scope of your church or the dictates of your church is the sin of premarital sex?
it's very serious. Like I said before, you can be excommunicated for it. So you have...
Well, let me
It's-
ask you this way. Is there a list? Is there a hierarchy? Or is it just very serious?
Okay, well, there's the scriptures that teach us that the most severe sin would be to deny the Holy Ghost and to commit murder.
Okay.
Next in line would be fornication, adultery, sexual immorality,
Okay.
and that's
So
very
it's
serious. So
Number 2 or 3 on the list. Number 3 on the list
Yeah,
that you told us,
so-
right? Okay, that makes sense. So it's really high up there. It's a big
Yes.
deal. Okay. And like you said, that could lead to excommunication if someone found out.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. Let me kind of step back a bit, and I want to ask you about a few phrases or things prominent in your church. Could you describe for us what the term temple worthy means?
someone who holds a temple recommend, so that means they've gone to their bishop and gone through an interview, and also through the stake president and had an interview with them. And there's a series of questions, which questions are just to find out if they're obeying the commandments of God. So, are active members in the church. So they show up to church on Sunday, they partake of the sacrament, they are repenting when they, make mistakes. They are serving in their calling. So it's just to see their level, basically, of commitment to the Lord in their church service and worship.
Okay. To your knowledge, was Travis Alexander temple worthy for your church?
I didn't know whether
Okay.
or not he was.
Okay. Let me ask you about the term priesthood holder. What does that mean in your church?
So the priesthood holder is basically, so at the age of 12, a young boy receives the priesthood. So, and there's different levels of priesthood power and keys, but it's essentially somebody that holds the power to give blessings. It's power ordained to them through God.
Okay.
And so in order to have that, you have to make sure you are maintaining a worthy, clean, pure lifestyle. And it's essentially a way to serve people in the church by giving blessings of healing, of comfort, and and so on. And they also bless the sacrament with it, and they use that also in the temple.
Okay. And you said boys do women become priesthood holders in your church?
No, no.
And to your knowledge, was Mr. Alexander a priesthood holder?
I thought he was, so yeah, I don't know for sure though. I thought he was.
Okay. And what do you base that knowledge on?
The fact that he was going to church. I hadn't ever heard he had been excommunicated. When you're excommunicated, if you're a man, you lose your priesthood power.
Okay.
And so I assumed, since he was an active member of the church, he was also a worthy priesthood holder.
Okay. And it sounds to me like you would have assumed that because no one knew of him committing any of the sins that lead to any sanctions, right?
Right.
Okay. And based on what you said before, it sounds to me like if someone committed one of those, again, the sin of premarital sex, they would lose their temple-worthy status and their status as a priesthood holder. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Typically, yeah.
Okay. I want to talk to you now a little bit about Mr. Alexander himself and your relationship with him, okay?
Okay.
In a moment, Judge. And if I may approach.
You may.
Ms. Hall, I'm going to hand you, for the record, a copy of Exhibit 254, just for the record. And Ms. Hall, as I hand you that, do you recall some time ago, and I certainly couldn't recall the exact date, that you and I sat down and had a conversation about your relationship with Mr. Alexander?
I don't remember the exact date, but yes, you and Mr. Martinez were there.
Okay. I just wanted to talk to you about some of those things, and if you have trouble kind of remembering some of the things you said, I've put that exhibit there just so you could refresh your recollection if need be, okay?
Okay, do we, so this is a transcript of the
Yes,
recording
ma'am.
that you
Yes,
made?
ma'am. Yes, it is. Okay. One of the things you told us that day was that you said you knew Travis for about a year at the time before his death. Is that about right?
I knew who he was when
Okay.
I moved into the ward in about July or August, I would think. And so the first Sunday I went there, he gave a talk in church.
Okay.
So I knew who he was, but we didn't officially meet until later.
Okay. And do you remember how old you were when you moved into the ward?
That would have been almost 5.5 years ago, I guess.
Okay.
So 27, 28.
Okay. All right. And one of the things I believe you told us then, and what you told Mr. Martinez this afternoon, was that, and ma'am, I'll just ask you questions. If you need to refer back, go ahead and let me know, okay? That you and Mr. Alexander began dating in February 2008, correct?
That would,
And that was an approximate time. I'm
Yeah.
not holding you to a specific date. Okay. And those dates in February 2008, those were the dates that you described to Mr. Martinez a few moments ago. Is that right?
yeah, they were
Okay.
an approximation.
What's that?
Yes, they were an approximation.
Okay. All right. And it sounded to me, and it got a little confusing, and I understand time frames aren't going to be exact this many years ago, but it sounded to me like after those dates, you began dating someone else, correct?
Yeah, so it would have been after the first date, from what I remember.
Okay.
I then began dating someone else, and so again, the exact time I don't remember, other than guesstimating.
Okay, right, and that's fair. So we're talking February, March-ish of 2008 when this was occurring.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. And if I understood you correctly, after that first date with Mr. Alexander, you didn't have any romantic interest, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And after this period of time, you went on this date. You then began dating another individual for a few weeks, I think. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Mr. Alexander had asked you out in a period of time when you were dating this other individual. Is that accurate?
I believe I remember that he tried asking me out, and I let him know that I was dating someone else.
Okay. When that period of dating ended with this other individual, not with Travis, but this other individual, it sounds to me like you went on other dates with Travis. Is that correct?
Yes, I remember going on 2 more dates with him afterward. So
Okay. And was that the rock climbing wall that you were talking to Mr. Martinez about, or was
Yeah.
that something else? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And when, if you could tell us perhaps in relation, and the last date you went on with Mr. Alexander was to the rock climbing wall, is that right? Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. With that, and I'm not holding you to a specific date here, but do you remember how much time elapsed between that last date and his asking you to go to Cancun?
Not exactly. I don't remember the exact time.
2 weeks, 3
But,
weeks?
I would think it would have been in March, maybe April, the beginning of April,
Okay.
when we went rock climbing. And then he asked me to go with him in Cancun, I believe sometime in May, the beginning of May.
Okay.
So again, I don't remember the exact day
Okay.
when that happened, but
In between your date at the rock climbing wall and your trip to Cancun, or him asking you to go to Cancun, excuse me,
Okay.
Did he ask you out other times?
yeah, I had let him know that we would just be friends, that I wasn't interested in going out with him anymore.
Okay.
So that I just wanted to be friends. So he might have asked me out one other time, and I let him know, that no, I don't really have any interest, I just want to be friends.
Okay.
So,
And this was after the rock climbing wall that you kind of gave him the friends talk, right?
yeah.
Okay. And then it was sometime after you told him you just wanted to be friends that he asked you to go to Cancun, right? Okay. And I remember you told Mr. Martinez that you didn't say yes right away. You thought about it for a few days, right?
Yeah, I remember thinking about it and asking my mom, if it was a good idea, and coming to the conclusion that, since he wasn't paying for any of it, that it was a place that I'd been to with my own family and felt very comfortable with this place. I knew how fun it was, and the fact that we were going with a family and we were staying in totally separate rooms, I felt very comfortable going with my friend to Cancun.
Okay. Did you, and I get the sense from the fact that you didn't accept right away that you might have been surprised by his asking you to go to, it's a difference to go to a rock climbing wall in town to go to Cancun, right? Was that a bit of a surprise to you?
Well, at that point, we were, closer friends at that point.
Okay.
Giving him the friend talk, I was always very upfront, direct with Travis. He knew that we were just friends. He's a persistent guy, and I think part of him still hoped maybe that I would end up liking him. So I initially thought that that's why, because he was trying to get me to like him, to go with him to Cancun. But again, I gave him the, we're just friends, just tried to make sure everything was on the same level, like he understood where I was at, and he did, and he was really respectful of that, and still wanted me to go with him to Cancun.
And so and I think you said it, but this is prior to you going to Cancun, you kind of reinitiated your statements or your feelings that you just wanted to be friends. You wanted to clarify with him just to make sure.
Yeah, and even a few weeks before, before we went, again, I told him, Travis, maybe you should take somebody else to Cancun with you. And there wasn't anyone else that he wanted to take. So.
Okay. Wasn't anyone else he wanted to take? I'm just wondering, did the time you were seeing him and going on these dates or anything else, did he tell you he was also dating Jodi Arias?
No, I had no idea.
Okay. Did he tell you that he was having sexual relations with Jodi Arias?
No.
Okay. What he did, it seemingly told you, and I'm not going to ask exactly what he said, but it was during a camping trip, if I recall correctly, that he told you he had a stalker. It was in this camping trip in Prescott, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't say a name at all, but when we were camping, we were having breakfast with a couple of friends around, and he told me that at that point that he had a stalker and that she had actually followed us on a date and that she knew who I was. And I told him that was really scary and that he should get a restraining order.
And you say that he didn't say that this was Jodi, right?
No, he didn't say who it was.
Could I draw your attention, if you'd be so kind, as to look at page 6 of the transcript and just read to yourself for a moment. And just read to yourself. No, quietly, I'm sorry.
Okay, where on the page?
Page 6, you should begin around line 6 or 7.
This is,
Hey, no, ma'am, I didn't ask a question. If I could approach, Your Honor?
Okay.
I want to make sure I have the exact spot.
I just turned the page down.
Thank you. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. And I kind of interrupted you. You said you gave him the advice that he should seek a restraining order against this stalker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you expressed to him that you were scared of this stalker, right?
I'm scared of any stalker. It's not something you want to take lightly.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did he ever seek out a restraining order?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
He told me not to be afraid.
Okay. And your testimony is he never said to you that Jodi Arias was his stalker. That's your testimony?
That's from what I can remember. I don't remember him ever saying. The time I remember hearing the name Jodi, and it could have been then, but the time I actually recall the name Jodi was the night that we found him at his house.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hall. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about this stalker issue and what it was they told you when you were up in what, Prescott? Is that what it was?
I think it was in Payson.
Payson?
Yeah.
You indicated that part of what he told you was that this stalker was a female, right?
Yes.
And what had this female done that he was warning you about?
She had
Objection beyond the scope of cross.
Overruled.
She had slashed his tires several times. She had slashed he had dated someone earlier that year. She had slashed her tires. She had sent threatening emails to both Travis and his girlfriend of the time. She had followed us on the first date that we went on. She sounded dangerous. She had broken into his email accounts, his bank accounts. She would sneak into his house through the doggy door and sleep on his couch at night without him knowing that she was there. So.
And you were dating him what month of what year?
We went out,
Sorry, you went out what
yeah.
month and what year?
like I said, January or February, that first time. And then
Right.
later on, March-ish.
So it could have been from January to March of 2008 that these dates took place then.
Yes. Mhm.
In terms of whether or not Mr. Alexander was temple worthy, do you know whether or not he was temple worthy?
I don't know. I
What-
knew he was in the past because he talked about going to the temple, but when we were hanging out, I didn't know whether he was or not.
And in terms of whether or not he was a priesthood holder, you assume that he was, but you don't really know, right?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to go back. I think he had told. I remember just now when you asked me that I think he had told me that he wasn't worthy to go to the temple.
Was or was not?
Was not
A what?
worthy to go to the temple.
I'm sorry.
But as far as the priesthood holder,
Hold on.
okay.
The microphones are not so good here.
Okay.
Since there was he or was he not temple worthy? You're going to tell us about that, and then the priesthood holder. Why don't you tell us about those?
So, I actually remember him talking about, he used to work in the temple, and then I remembered him telling me a story that he was no longer worthy to go through the temple. He didn't tell me why. I didn't ask why. That's private.
So he's not temple worthy then.
So yeah, so during that time, I don't think he was temple worthy. And then priesthood holder, I assumed that he was at that time, but I don't know.
All right. And you were talking about the gradation, or what is the most serious of all sins, and murder's at the top is one of them, right?
Yeah.
Along with denying the Holy Ghost, right?
Right.
And then underneath that, you listed some others. What were those?
Sexual immorality, so that would be fornication, adultery.
Well, just so that we're getting this clear, adultery, what does that refer to?
When a husband and wife, if you have a marriage, you have a husband and wife, and one of them sleeps with or has a sexual relationship with someone outside of their marriage.
All right. How is that different from fornication?
Fornication, as far as I understand, is with a single person. So somebody who's not married and has a sexual relationship with someone else who is not married.
So it's the same thing, only it's sort of a, if you will, a
One's married, one's
classification?
right.
And in terms of the sinfulness of the person, does it matter that the person who is engaging in fornication is a woman? In other words, is it lesser for a woman to engage in fornication than it is for a guy?
No.
So it's the same sort of sin, right?
Yes.
Let me ask you the situation you were asked about, reporting and that sort of thing. What if a person is engaging in fornication, whether they be, let's just say it's female, and that person does not self-report? Is that in and of itself a sin?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
How about if a person is having sex with somebody and they're single? That's a yes, correct?
Yes.
And this person continually has sex, but does not self-report, doesn't go to the bishop and say, I'm having sex and I'm not married. Is that also a sin, the failure to report?
It's just not repenting of that sin. You're continuing on with the sin. Yeah. So
In this gradation of sins that we've talked about, the murder and the denial of the Holy Ghost, and then you told us where fornication and adultery came in. How about lying? Is that a sin?
Objection to the unspoke cross. An argument.
Overruled.
it's a
Is that a sin?
It's a sin to lie.
And that's part of this list that you were talking to the defense attorney about?
Yeah.
In terms of this issue involving whether or not if somebody's being hurt and reporting it, is the only recourse if somebody's being hurt to report it to the bishop, or is there a different recourse? Can a person report it to somebody else? For example, law enforcement.
You can tell anybody you want to what your sin. Yes, but in order to become clean again, you have to tell your bishop. You have to confess the sin.
And this trip to Cancun that you talked to the defense attorney about, you at first told him you didn't want to go, right?
I told him that I wanted to think about it, told him that I would go. Then a couple of weeks beforehand, I told him he should take someone else.
A couple of weeks beforehand, you told him he should take somebody else a couple of weeks before the trip, right?
Correct.
And did he agree to take somebody else?
He did not. There wasn't anyone else he wanted to take.
And these conversations took place at what month and what year?
May 2008.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Does any member of the jury have a question for this witness? I see no hands. Thank you. You may.
W-I-L-L-I-A-S.
Okay, raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
You may.
Your name, sir?
Sterling Williams,
And who do you work for?
Mesa Police.
What do you do for him?
I'm a patrol officer,
How long have you been with the city of Mesa Police Department?
approximately 6 years.
And what is it that you do as a patrol officer?
Respond to calls for service as put in by the public, patrol neighborhoods in my assigned area.
Do you ride with one person or do you go by yourself?
It varies. I generally ride by myself, though.
Did you have occasion to be on duty back on June 9th of 2008?
Yes, sir.
And did you have occasion to be on duty sometime after 9:30 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Did you have occasion to respond to an address on Queensboro?
Yes.
What was that address?
11428 East Queensboro Avenue.
And is that in Mesa, Maricopa County, Arizona?
Yes.
And that residence, describe it for me. Is it an apartment? Is it a trailer? Is it a house? What is it?
It's a house, single
And-
occupancy.
What time did you respond there?
I got dispatched at 10:30 p.m. I arrived on scene at 10:36 p.m.
And did you speak to anybody when you got there?
Not initially.
What did you do when you got there?
I arrived shortly after fire personnel. They had already been directed to the upstairs master bedroom, so I proceeded to follow them inside.
And when you followed them inside, are you talking about the bathroom?
Inside of the residence through the front door.
Did you go, where did you go once you were inside?
Once we went inside, we went directly to the stairs, took the stairs up to the top, and there's a set of double doors at the top of the stairs to the left, which was the entrance to the master bedroom suite. And we went in through the open door in there, and fire personnel went in to find the body.
And did you actually see the fire department work on this individual or not?
They didn't work on him, no.
They looked at him and what
They
happened?
visually inspected him and were able to declare him deceased at that point.
What were you able to see?
As far as the body,
Yes, sir.
it appeared to me that he'd been deceased in that position for quite some time.
Anything unusual about the body that called your attention to it?
Other than the neck wound, he had appeared to be dried blood on his neck, appeared to be a neck wound from ear to ear. His face was dark purple, almost black. The rest of his body was a very pale white, and he was kind of crammed in the bottom of a shower stall.
Anything unusual about one of the cuts? Anything that caught your attention?
The cut on the throat was, it had dried blood around the outside edges. It was still moist on the inside. And at the top portion where the wound was up near his ear, the way he was crouched down, it appeared there was gas escaping the body. Every few seconds it would bubble.
And was the bubble red in color?
No, reddish, but not entirely.
I'm going to show you a couple of photographs. Please take a look at exhibits numbers 73, 74, and 75. Please take a look at them and see if you recognize what's there.
Yes,
What are they?
this is the body that I found in the shower.
Is it in these photographs true and accurate depictions of the body as it existed back on June 9th of 2008 when you found the body?
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibits 73 through 75.
Any objection?
Moment, Your Honor. No objection.
Exhibits 73, 74, and 75 are admitted.
What are we looking at here?
That's the shower stall with the body crammed down on the bottom of it in the master bedroom.
Okay. And exhibit number 74? What are we looking at there?
It's closer up above shot of the body, same body.
Gases and items coming out. Does this show that area?
Yes,
Where?
right at the end of the wound near the ear where you can see the small specks of blood and substance. It was bubbling and splattering as it was bubbling.
Other than that area that we just saw, the neck area, did you see any other areas that had blood on it?
Just his chest. I didn't examine the body very much after that.
Did you have occasion to look elsewhere, or was that the extent of what you looked at?
I did look briefly around the remainder of the bathroom while I was in there, yes.
And what is it that you saw in the bathroom?
I noticed large amounts of blood spatter in the sink and on the countertop. I also noticed there was a linen closet directly across from the walk-in closet. The door was closed and it looked like there was some dried blood possibly under the door.
Yeah, but is this covered by linoleum or is this carpeted?
This was a tile area.
The tile area, so wasn't the carpet of the closet?
No.
No. How did you actually walk in there? Did you walk in?
As I entered the room, I noticed large amounts of blood on the carpet and the transition between the tile and the carpet from the master bedroom.
So that would be if you took an immediate right?
Yes. There was a hallway leading off to the bathroom where the shower stall was. That was all covered in blood. I noticed large amounts of blood pooling and smears. There was a walk-in closet that paralleled that hallway with doors on both ends. That closet was clean. It was actually immaculately clean. There was
And the
nothing in
carpet
there.
in the closet, was there any blood in that carpet?
No.
And that's the one that's directly next to the shower area then?
Yes.
And so did you notice any blood in that closet?
No, I did not.
When you said it was immaculately clean, what do you mean?
Everything was very neatly in order. All the shoes were well placed. Clothes were hung up nicely. It just appeared very clean.
Did you take a look at the bedroom area?
Yes.
And did you see any blood there?
Yes, right at the entryway to the hallway leading to the bathroom.
So that's again, sort of that border between the hallway and the carpet.
Yes.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Your Honor, we have no questions for Officer Williams.
Does any member of the jury have a question for this witness? I see no hands. You may step down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take the evening recess at this time. Please be back in the designated area at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Please remember the admonition. Are there any questions?
And what do you do for them?
I'm currently assigned to the homicide unit as a detective.
Drawing your attention back to June of 2008, where were you assigned?
I was assigned in homicide.
And did you have occasion when you were assigned to this unit to investigate the killing of somebody by the name of Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did.
With regard to that, what were your duties or what were you assigned to do?
I was assigned as the lead case agent for this particular case.
Lead agent, what are you required to do?
Respond to the scene, investigate the actual crime scene, talk to witnesses, and basically try to solve the crime.
When were you first called out to the home?
Was called out on the 9th, just a little after 10 o'clock at night.
And did the investigation begin then, or did it sort of get started the next day?
It got started the next day.
Why is that? Why didn't you do that at night?
Well, at that point, we began talking to some witnesses who were at the scene, but we needed to get a search warrant to get into the house before we began the initial scene investigation.
And that search warrant wasn't available until the next day.
Correct.
And the next day, while you were or that night while you were at the scene, were you notified that somebody wanted to talk to you?
Yes.
And who was the person that wanted to talk to you that night?
That night was Jodi Arias.
And was it a telephone call that she made?
Yes.
Did you take the call that night of June 9th, 2008?
No, I did not.
How about the next day? When you were out, what happened the next day? Did you go to the scene?
Yes, I was at the scene.
About what time did you get there?
Actually, I was still there from the night before.
And during that day, the 10th now, correct?
Yes.
Did you receive any indication that Jodi Arias wanted to talk to you?
Yes, I received a phone call from a fellow officer stating that a female by the name of Jodi Arias wanted to talk to me.
And did she leave a telephone number?
Yes, she did.
So this is the second attempt that has been made, correct?
Yes.
About what time were you notified of this second attempt by the defendant?
It was in the morning, before 10 o'clock or so.
Did you then return that call?
Yes, I did.
And about what time?
Right around that same time.
And prior to speaking to this individual, well, let's do it this way. Whenever you talk to witnesses, do you always Mirandize them or not?
No.
With regard to this telephone call with her, did you Mirandize her?
No.
Why not?
She wasn't in custody.
So Miranda warnings are only required when somebody's in custody, correct?
Yes.
So this telephone call that you had with her, was it something that you tape recorded or not?
Yes, I did tape record it.
And during this telephone call, was there a discussion about whether or not Travis Alexander had a gun?
Yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 273. Did you listen to this before you came to court?
Yes, I did.
And is this the portion of the recording that you had on June 10th involving whether or not Travis Alexander had a gun?
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit number 273.
Any objection?
This one, I haven't heard of.
Well, can I call you again if I need more information, or if I have another question? Do you have any questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, do you know when all this happened? I mean, I got a call last night, but is there any word on...
Sometime between Thursday and last night. We're not sure yet. We haven't pinpointed yet.
And you said that maybe multiple people, because he's a big guy. Maybe you can't talk about this, but was there like any kind of weapon used, or was there a gun? Was there?
I can't say what type of weapon was used, but yeah, I'm guessing there was a weapon used by the type of injuries that were left behind. Do you know of him having any weapons at all in the house?
His two fists.
That's it?
Really? No, yeah.
No handguns or rifles or...
No, he wasn't one to keep any of that I found.
Fighting knives or anything like that?
No, he was more into like wrestling and UFC, and he had he said he had just bought a punching bag, and he's like, I love beating the crap out of my punching bag, But
That's a portion of the conversation, correct?
Yes, it is.
Did the conversation also deal with their relationship, their dating life, and that sort of thing?
Yes, it did.
To show you exhibit number 272, this is also another clip. Does that deal with that portion of your conversation with her?
Yes.
And this is the initiating point of the conversation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Move for the admission of exhibit 272.
Judge, I'm going to continue to do it. These excerpts haven't been provided to defense beforehand. The tape has, but I don't know what excerpts have.
Counsel approach. Mr. Martinez?
The state has provided the entirety of this tape recording to the defendant and has done and did so approximately 3 years ago.
All right, Exhibit 272 is admitted.
Interview with Jodi Arias. Case number 2008-1610804.
Hello?
Hello, can I speak to Jodi, please?
This is Jodi.
Hey, Jodi, this is Detective Steve Flores with Mesa, Arizona Police Department.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Good. I just got a message from one of my patrol officers that you needed to talk to me about something.
Well, I just wanted to offer any assistance that I might have. I was a really good friend of Travis's, and I just, I know that I don't know a lot of anything, but...
What have you heard so far?
I heard that he passed away, and that it was, I don't know, I've heard all kinds of rumors. I heard there was a lot of blood. I heard that his roommate found him, or his friend found him, or people were, I'm sorry, so I'm upset, but I've heard that nobody's been able to get a hold of him for almost a week, and that was about the last time I spoke to him too. Which is actually why I thought my friend said I should call you anyway and let you know the last time I talked to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any help we can get from anybody who had any kind of contact with him, any phone contact.
I used to talk to him quite regularly. I used to live there. I live in Northern California now. But after I moved a few months ago, and after I moved, we kept in touch very regularly and kind of fell back a little bit. It got down to about a couple times a week, but I hadn't heard from him. I talked to him on Tuesday night. I looked at my phone records on the internet to check, and I definitely talked to him Tuesday night.
Okay. So was that your cell phone, or?
Yeah, that was my cell. It's the only phone I have. So.
Is this the number that I called?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that was Tuesday night. Do you remember about what time?
I think it was, I want to say like 9:15, but I think it was sometime between 8 and 10. So I know it wasn't as late as 10. Probably between 8:30 and 9:30 more so. Narrow, I think.
And what did you guys talk about?
It was brief. I was driving out to Utah, and he was like, "Are you gonna come out and see me?" And I'm like, "No." And he's supposed to make a trip up here at the end of the month because thing that we are doing. It's called there's a book called 1,000 Places to See Before You Die, and it's been featured on the Travel Channel and all that. And we sort of got into that last year where we were starting to see all these different places on the list, and we thought 1,000 places is a lot of places, but why not? That would be a fun goal. So we each kind of have that goal, and one of the places is the Oregon Coast and the Shakespearean Festival, and so he was going to come up here for that, and we were just going to go see that in Crater Lake and just different landmarks. And
was that trip already scheduled, or just something you guys talked about? It wasn't officially like dated, but I had been trying to reach him so that I could solidify my own schedule because I was planning on making a trip down there soon. But it was supposed to happen in May, and then it's supposed to happen last week, and that didn't work out. So he was going to leave for Cancun today, and then he said as soon as he gets back from Cancun, he was going to take the trip because he's going to drive up the coast. And when he reaches me, we'll go do some things, and then he'll continue on to Washington and see some friends up there. With anybody here in town? Any enemies? Anybody that wanted to do him harm?
Got his tires slashed. It was last year. He said he was worried about that, and I was worried about that. He never locked his doors, and I would tell him, lock your doors, and he's like, you're not my mom, And he comes from a bad city. He comes from Ruby, California, which is gangs and violence. And I come from a similar type of neighborhood in California. So I've always
my parents and I, we've always locked our doors, and that's just my habit. But he doesn't have that habit, and he lives in a great neighborhood, and it's never been an issue. Nothing has ever been stolen. Nothing has ever been, he's never been, broken into. And he had his tires slashed. I don't remember when it was. It was last year, sometime around Christmas, I think. And other than that.
Now, how would you describe your relationship with him?
We dated for like 5 months, and we broke up, and we continued actually to see each other for quite a bit, right up until I moved.
When did you guys break up?
We officially broke up June 29th of last year. But even though we broke up, we were no longer boyfriend and girlfriend. We decided to remain friends, but, I kind of feel embarrassed talking about this, but it was more than friends, but it wasn't boyfriend and girlfriend. It was more like kind of buddies, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you guys were not romantically together at any time, or?
We were intimate, but I wouldn't say romantic as far as the relationship goes, but we were in no way headed toward marriage or talking anything about that. We hung probably sometimes.
Now you say intimate, does that include like a sexual relationship with him?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I know it's kind of embarrassing to talk about stuff
I know,
like that,
and
but you don't know me, so.
Yeah, and if you could just keep it confidential for now,
Yeah.
because I know that he's Mormon, he's not seriously looked down upon in our church, and I'm telling you this to help in any way I can.
Okay, I appreciate it. So you actually moved back to California a couple of months ago?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, what date was that, do you remember?
I don't remember the exact date. I have the dates I rented the U-Haul. It was early April. Early, like before April 10th. So it was after the 1st, but before the 10th. So I'm guessing 7th, 8th, 9th maybe. I'd have to check the dates for those.
Did you stop by the house when you rented the U-Haul to say goodbye to him?
Oh yeah. In fact, after I was almost moved out completely out of my house for about a week afterward, and I just stayed at his house the whole time. I practically lived there, even when I was there. I spent the night there several times a week while I lived there. I came over and I cleaned his house a lot. He paid me a little bit every month to keep his house nice and clean. Sort of like a housekeeper. So.
Did you ever happen to meet any of his roommates at that time?
At the time, yeah, I knew his group really well at the time. Various roommates. Some have moved out. One guy moved to Utah, and one guy moved to Phoenix. Zach I don't know if Zach is still there. I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
I knew Zach because I met him. And, we sort of connected because he's a photographer like I am. And, he took the room that Aaron lived in previously. So, yeah. Zach
what do you think about Zach? What do you think his relationship is with your ex-boyfriend?
He seemed like a nice guy. When I first met him, he seemed just like a normal guy. He's a returned missionary and he served. Okay, good. I didn't lose you. He served his mission. I think in Arizona. He liked it so much that he moved back. He knew Travis from church, so yeah, him and his girlfriend were there. I think there was some alcohol there at one time, and Travis was suspicious about it, but he said he used it for cooking. That's fine, because, Mormons don't drink alcohol, but,
well, some do.
Yeah, so they're not supposed to. And Travis, that's another thing when it came to that. We call it the word of wisdom, no alcohol, tobacco, drugs, or coffee or tea. And he was just super, super, super strict on that. Yeah, he wouldn't even take Excedrin for a headache because it had caffeine. Like, he's so strict on that. I'm a little less strict on that. I'll pop Excedrin any day, but...
There's a lot of Diet Cokes in the fridge.
Yeah, they're not Travis's, I can guarantee that. He wouldn't even touch Coke. So, it's one of his other roommates, I guess.
Okay, and that was around April that you last saw him, right?
Early April.
You haven't been back in town since then?
No, I haven't at all.
Okay, I thought somebody had mentioned your name and you had been back in town for like a week or a couple of days.
Oh, I've been thinking about going there. So yeah, I've been definitely planning on heading down there.
But you haven't physically been here since you left.
Since I moved, no, I haven't. So I was gonna go this week actually while he was in Cancun and stay at his house, but it's just not in the budget. So.
Was that something that you guys had scheduled, that you were going to come down, stay at his house when he was gone?
Yeah, no, actually, not. That's what I had emailed him about last week, because it was kind of last minute. Because I was going to go, I'm looking at a calendar here. I was going to go not this week, but the next, and then he was going to come up here that following week, which was before July. And it all sounds kind of weird. We're all like travelers. And I figured, it would be a good idea if I would have a place to stay. His house is open all the time to friends. I mean, anybody in his business or anybody that comes to visit, he gives up his bed. He'll sleep on the couch. He lets them have the whole room. So it just didn't seem like, he said the door's always open, so I would have felt totally okay just showing up and staying at his house and eating his frozen dinners, et cetera, et cetera. And he would have been fine with that too. And I just, he said just always give me a heads up. So I asked him, let me know if that's cool. If not, I'll make other arrangements. And I never heard back.
And when was that email sent out?
Just a few days ago. I'm in front of the computer, so I can check right now for you.
Yeah, if you can do that, please.
Yeah, hang on a second. I just log into my account.
What's his email address?
Yeah, to his email.
Yeah, well, what is his email address, offhand?
His email is travis.alexander@gmail.com. Let's see. I sent one on June 7th. Haven't heard back from you. He got a little bit upset when I said I wasn't driving out to see him, but he gets upset real easily. I don't know, he likes to hang over me a little bit, and we kind of guilt each other sometimes.
So you guys still had a fairly decent relationship as friends?
We did. We had a really
good... People that we talked to said that you guys, that your relationship was kind of rocky, and it got a little crazy at times, or...
It did. What happened was when I broke up with Travis around last year, because it was all really dumb. It was a bunch of drama. I had the suspicion that he was cheating on me, and so I looked in his phone to find out, and I found all these text messages, and it just all blew up, and it was like we realized we couldn't trust each other. So I mean, we broke up at that point, but we were still attracted to each other, and we still loved each other. So it wasn't the best thing, but we still hung out all the time together. And it didn't really help either of us to move on, because I haven't really dated anyone since. And he told me that he hadn't dated anyone since, but then he told me that he has. So it's all been kind of weird, because we kept our dating lives sort of from each other, like a don't ask, don't tell policy, sort of. And I think it worked out. It was more convenient for us. I figured, if he didn't have a girlfriend, then I'm okay coming over. And as long as he didn't think that I was with anybody, then he was fine too. So just the less we knew about each other's dating lives or romantic lives, the better the better off we were. So it was sent June 7th. Yeah, this is the one I sent about letting him know that I cannot.
And what town are you in again?
I'm sorry?
What town are you in again?
I'm in Yreka, California. Yreka.
Yreka?
Uh-huh.
Oh, where is that at?
It is 15 minutes from Oregon, and it's on Interstate 5.
Okay. All right. So just right at the Oregon border.
Yeah. Finland.
Not close to the coast?
No, unfortunately.
I had some other questions. I'm trying to remember what they were. I mean, you kind of lived in the house for a while. You knew the surroundings and the kind of furniture he had, the bedding and stuff. Can you describe his bedroom bedding and stuff for me? It's kind of an unusual question, but...
No, that's fine. I spent a lot of time in there. He's got like, I don't know if it's like Egyptian cotton or whatever, but it's a really nice brown linen, and it's soft. It's not like flannel, but it's soft. And he always brags to everyone about his IntelliGel bed. Like, it's really comfy. So he's got a great mattress, and it's like, apparently it's like this $5,000 mattress that he picked up for really, really cheap because it was a showroom thing or it was a return, or somehow he got a really sweet deal on it. So it's a king size. I don't know if it's California or what, but it's a king size bed. It's kind of like I think it's like a sleigh bed. It's dark wood.
But the bedding is mainly like a brown linen, really nice cotton linen.
Yeah, he has, it's maybe different patterns on the sheets versus the comforter, but the sheets are brown and the comforter is brown and the pillowcases are brown.
So the color of the comforter is brown as well? Does it have any type of pattern or like tassels or edging?
I think it has stripes. I think it has like, and they're not like colored stripes, they're just like stripes in the brown pattern itself.
Oh, like, it's dark brown, but it's a little bit darker brown, like threading?
Yeah, you can see that there's a pattern there. And the sheet may be more of like a checkered thing, I think, if I remember correctly. And his cover too, his bedspread is like, it's a down comforter that's white, and then it's got like I don't know what he used to call it, it has a special name. But
it's like a duvet cover?
Yes, it's a duvet.
What does the duvet look like?
It comes like it's got buttons on the end, and it covers the whole thing, and you slide the actual comforter inside the duvet, which is what you pull off to wash, or you can, that kind of thing. So, and we've, like many times, it's so hard to get in there with one person, so you kind of just grab the corners and we pull it in together on one side, and then you just sort of fluff it out and then button up the buttons.
Yeah, because that down kind of just shoves over in one corner. It doesn't want to spread out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it didn't have like any type of edging or tassels or anything like that you know of, like a light brown.
Not that I remember.
Is there anything in the house that resembled anything with some type of small tan, rope-ish kind of material or edging or anything like that? A blanket?
He may have pillows. Yeah, he may have had pillows. Yeah, he has pillows on his bed, not on the bed, but on the chair that's next to his bed.
Yeah.
There's those. There's also a round pillow that he uses to make his bed, and there's just one, and he puts it in the center. And there may be some kind of tassel thing on that.
Do you know anybody back here still that still has contact with him?
Yeah, lots of people, tons of people.
Is that how you found out about what had happened?
A friend of mine, Dan Freeman, called me last night. I met Dan through Travis.
Dan Freeman?
Freeman. Yeah, F-R-E-M-A-N.
Okay, yeah, we talked to him as well.
Yeah. I met him last year with his sister when we all took a trip out to the Grand Canyon and to Sedona.
So he called you last night and told you what happened?
Yeah, he did. He didn't have a lot of information.
Any idea what everybody's talking about, what they're saying, what their suspicions are?
They're saying, everything that I've heard was that, and I got a lot of my information from Bishop Layton, more details, and he's basically that they took everybody and separated them, and I don't know who everybody is. I'm assuming Zach, because he was there, and his girlfriend, because I called Zach's cell phone, and she couldn't tell me anything, but she answered. And she said, there are a lot of people here that I don't know, but Zach's not here, so it didn't make sense. And I was confused, but she couldn't tell me anything. So I didn't get a lot out of her, but Bishop Layton said he was there for 4 hours, and they interviewed everybody. And they all went to the police station, and that they're treating it as a suspicious as a suspicious death. And I heard from my friend, Dave Hall, that there was a lot of blood, and I don't know if that's just a rumor that's going around or true. And I also heard that his services will be in California, but that they haven't released his body to his grandma yet. So that's all I've really heard so far.
Well, I can tell you that we're investigating it as a homicide.
Okay.
And not a suspicious death anymore. It's pretty obvious. And it's important for us to find out why somebody would want to do harm to him.
Exactly.
What kind of stuff he was possibly involved in, or maybe it just could have been as simple as a burglary, an intruder, or something that had gone wrong.
I'm wondering because he's so. When they said suspicious death, I thought, well, he's trying to shed pounds for Cancun, so he looks good in boxers or a bathing suit or whatever, or swim trunks. And I know that he takes, or I thought he takes supplements, and he works out really, really hard. I've seen him work out, and it's a very intense routine. And he has these heavy dumbbells that he uses, and he's so strong. I mean, there are a couple times we've tried to wrestle just for fun, and he showed me some moves, and there's just no, I don't see how anyone, unless maybe there were two people, I don't see how anyone could overpower him unless there was...
He's a pretty good-sized guy.
Yeah,
and
he was close to 200 pounds, I think.
Yeah. It would take, I would say, two people, if not maybe more, to kind of overpower him. I've tried with officers, working this job, to take down a woman at 135 pounds who's out of control, and it's difficult to control. Somebody like that. No ideas come to mind, why somebody would want to hurt him. Did he owe somebody money? Did he have any worries or concerns about anybody?
He did owe people money, but they were all good friends. They weren't, it wasn't a bad situation. It was, in fact, there was one family that lent him money that's very, very wealthy from what I understand, and it's not like it hurt them to lend him the money. Of course, they expected him to pay it back, and he had a very reasonable timeline. And they also had a really good collateral in case he didn't pay back. They owned a piece of stock that he owned, so if they didn't pay him back, it was like $6,000 or something. I think it was $6,000. But if he didn't get them paid back on time, then they would just keep his stock, which would eventually be worth over $25,000. So I don't think they were worried about that at all. That's the Hyatt family. Frank Hyatt was there last night. But that was when he was struggling financially several months back, and I don't know. I haven't talked to him about how that's going since. But I know that's.
What's the situation with the car that was? Somebody mentioned a BMW.
Yeah, I'm buying his BMW.
Okay, because we found a check that was written by you to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last month.
Yeah, I recently mailed him a check. I mailed him that and a few other things. I'm making payments to him.
Okay, and you still have that car right now?
No, it's actually not in my possession. I did the dumbest thing. I went and hooked it up to the U-Haul. Everything was cool and set to go. And I got the dolly where the back wheels are on the ground because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And the U-Haul guy said, okay, drive it up here. Okay, stop, brake. And everything was cool. And I stopped the car, turned it off. Got the car, left the door open so they could look at everything. And they shut the door and said, you're good to go. And I took off. And this is going to sound really dumb. I realize now that this is not how you tow a car, but I left it in first gear. Yeah. And I headed down the highway, and I blew the engine to smithereens. It looked like it gave birth all over the highway. There was just black oil everywhere. And so it's sitting at Wes's Auto something, last time I checked. It's sitting there in Mesa. And the guy's been really nice about just keeping it until Travis figures out what he can do. We've called lawyers about it, and my lawyer said, have your insurance fix it, and his lawyer said your insurance might not fix it because it might be considered mechanical. So that's the last we talked about it. We've been, he's been real busy and hasn't had a lot of time to attend to it. And I have a vehicle right now, but not for much longer because I have to give it back to the bank. So, either way.
When did you mail that payment? End of May? So you're still making payments to that?
Oh yeah, in fact that's my first payment because we just did this car deal like right before I moved, and he said we have a buyer's agreement too. I think that I checked out and emailed to him, but we have, like he said, just get on your feet, and then start sending payments. And the agreement was X amount per month, whatever I could pay. So finally got a job and gave him that payment for $200.
What was $200 a month?
Yeah. It was $100 a month minimum.
Okay.
Minimum. And if I could pay more, please. Kind of thing.
Okay. We did talk to certain people, and I don't want to tell you this. I don't want to make you feel bad, but they didn't have the best of things to say about you.
Okay.
They felt that you were either taking advantage of him or just hanging around when you weren't wanted. They mentioned that you would sometimes end up going into his house. You were in his house when he didn't want you there, and he would ask you to leave, but you would continue to return. There was also some talk about you spying on his email and Facebook accounts, those kinds of things.
He gave me his Facebook password and his MySpace password, and I gave him my Facebook password and my Gmail account password. And the reason we did that is because it was kind of dumb. We did that months ago, and we thought, what can we do to try to reestablish trust between us? And why don't we start with that? And so that's what we did. And then, it just didn't work. He got really upset finally, and he's like, this isn't working. And I said, all right, this is too much of a headache. Let's just change our passwords. So we did. We changed our passwords after that.
How long ago did you guys change them?
I changed mine, not long ago, probably 3 weeks ago maybe. And I don't know about his because I haven't, once he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, I didn't even try to get back into his account anymore. So.
Yeah, I've been married almost 20 years, and I don't have my wife's email.
Really? I know it's...
you just have to trust sometimes.
It's true. It's true. And I told him, we've had hours upon hours of conversation, and I said, I just don't know if I could ever trust you again, and he doesn't know if he could ever trust me again because I might always want to get back into his phone and find out, does he really have something going on or what? Because, he did at one point, and so he said, yeah, I understand that. And he said, but if we were married, you would have all my passwords to everything because there wouldn't be anything to worry about.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's nice,
Yeah.
but we're not married. And as far as getting into his emails, that never happened. What he has on his computer is he would oftentimes just leave his computer on, and he'll leave his Gmail window up. And there were times when I got on his computer to look up other things, and if his Gmail window was open, then I would just close it. That was constantly getting into his email.
I had to mention that to you because we are getting a search warrant for his email, Gmail and Facebook and those accounts. And we can't tell where those things were accessed from by IP addresses. And I just want to make it clear that that if you did access it from somewhere else at a certain time, if you access it from California, we're going to know.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now that I did.
Okay.
He gave me his passwords. No, the only accounts that I've accessed though were MySpace and Gmail because those were the only passwords.
And how long ago? When was the last time you actually accessed them?
Weeks ago. We had a conversation where it's like he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, and I said that's okay. And I changed my Gmail account password because he got into that too, and then he saw another guy's email there, and gave me a hard time about it. And so it just was dumb. We're both trying to move on, and we're both, I don't know, it was weird.
Seems like there was a lot of jealousy issues.
I think there might have been on both parts. For me, it wasn't so much jealousy as it was like I just wanted to know like, I just wanted him to be honest. And for him, I think one of the reasons I moved was because we were spending too much time together and we weren't moving on. And it wasn't able to. I mean, I guess I could have dated other people, but our social circles were so small that anytime you heard about something, it just wasn't good.
Did you move down here the first time because of him?
Yeah, I moved there because of him, and I moved away because of him. Primarily, I also moved away for financial reasons. I'm with my grandparents now, but there were three main reasons I moved here. One, I missed my family, and two, financially, and three was because of travel. And the main reason that I moved there was because of travel.
Okay. Yeah, because when we first arrived on scene and started talking to people, some of his closest friends, began mentioning your name as, hey, you need to call her because she probably knows what happened to him, or she possibly had something to do with it.
Oh gosh, no,
that's how bad it was getting at the scene. And I needed to talk to you to find out why they would say something like that. Why they would start pointing fingers in your direction right away.
I don't know. Maybe because I'm an ex-girlfriend, we've had lots of fights.
Was there a lot of issues? I mean, obviously it wasn't a great relationship.
It was great for a while until we started fighting because I did know thing and I got into his phone because I had a suspicion that he wasn't being faithful, and I found a bunch of text messages that were no good. And rather than being an adult about it and confronting him, I kept it in and I kind of let it fester, and I was miserable and I didn't know why, and I wanted to tell him, but I was worried that it would just lead to an unnecessary fight. And then I realized this was no kind of relationship, so it finally all came out, and he was really apologetic, but we just both realized that neither of us could be in an adult relationship, and that was June of last year. So at that point, we continued to see each other, a long time after that.
Well, I'm glad I did get a hold of you again. You did call me because it kind of clears up a lot of the questions I had, a lot of the concerns. It's not what I don't think it's what these people thought was going on. So,
I should probably tell you that Travis, when he got upset, he would send me really mean emails. He would send me mean text messages and things. You'll find probably some stuff on his Facebook. I know for sure you'll find one on his Facebook and definitely in his Gmail, and you're welcome to access all of my accounts too if you want. With Travis,
we're probably gonna subpoena all his Facebook and Gmail and everything to see who he was communicating with, what he was saying, what he was saying to him.
Okay.
I'm not sure how far back. We usually go 6 months to a year.
Okay.
But in a case like this, we need to know, who had some type of beef with him, who, why they would do something like this to him.
Yeah.
I hate telling people over the phone, but it's like I said, it is a homicide investigation, and it was an angry situation. And when we see scenes like this, the first thing we think is these people hated each other. Somebody went in there to hurt him, and they did. And they hurt him really bad. And he's a big guy, and it would take, like I mentioned to you before, it would take more than one person to do this to him.
Can you?
And I was just hoping maybe you could kind of point me in the right direction. I'm talking to everybody that he knows that
I went to talk to a guy named Thomas Brown, and I don't think that, honestly, I haven't seen or heard from him since he was kicked out. I think his last name was Brown. I could try to find him on lbslinkup.com, but that was so long ago, though. That was last spring of 2007, March even. And what happened was he got kicked out because he was considered like borderline sexual predator, not like a rapist, but coming onto girls and that kind of thing. And it just really was down upon in the church. And so he was disfellowshipped, and Travis said, "You need to get out, get your stuff out of my house." And it wasn't a friendly situation. It was said over the phone because he and I were in Missouri and somewhere back east, just touring, and Thomas was.
So he ended up kicking him out at that time?
Yeah, he kicked him out at the time, but Thomas, he's a really big guy, but he doesn't seem like he doesn't seem violent. He seemed pretty gentle. He just seemed like a little bit thuggish, but like he was trying to act the part, not because he was that. Because he thought it would like attract chicks or something. I don't know. So he seems honestly like I didn't know him that well, but he seemed like a big dumb teddy bear.
Sir, as part of this conversation, was there also a discussion between you and the defendant about whether or not she had some regrets about not being there at the time of the attack?
Yes.
And is that memorialized in this clip 274 as to what her feelings are about whether or not she should have been there?
Yes.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 274.
Again, Judge, I'm going to object to the
And what was your first name again? Steve. Steve, okay. And I just wanted to say, again, that Travis and I had an on-off kind of relationship. We just weren't talking a lot the last several weeks, a couple times a week, and I just keep saying, what if I just gone down there, what if I had never moved and I would have been there and I could have, I don't know.
So you guys continued to talk this whole time, huh?
Yeah, definitely. It was more sporadic. But we usually talk late at night, like 12, anywhere between 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. and like 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. He was kind of.
Did he have any other cell phones besides? Well, we found one cell phone.
No, he had. I'm pretty sure he didn't. Otherwise, I'd know about it. He had his Verizon cell phone and he had his landline.
I don't have any other questions at this time, however, I will recall them.
Cross-examination.
Hello, Detective.
Hello.
I was going to ask you about the portion of your work that Mr. Martinez just spoke to you about, all right?
Okay.
But before we do that, let me back up just a little bit. You mentioned that you were called out to the scene.
Yes.
Okay. How does that work exactly?
The call usually comes in from a patrol officer to my supervisor. We had 2 supervisors at that time in the homicide unit, and they make the decision on who to call out to investigate that particular homicide that night.
Okay. So when you received the call to asking you to go out to this address on Queensboro, what information did you have?
The only information I had was that there was a suspicious death, and they gave me the address on Queensboro, and they didn't have any further information.
Okay. And you recall, as best you can estimate, how long a time period was it between the time that you received that call and by the time you arrived at the house on Queensboro?
It was within an hour.
Okay. And describe for us, if you will, what the scene was when you arrived. What was going on when you pulled up to the house?
Well, the house was cordoned off with police caution tape around the entire residence. Actually, the street was blocked off as well. And there were police vehicles and patrol officers and patrol supervisors there at that time.
Okay. You say the street was blocked off. Was that just in front of the house or was that the entire street?
No, just in front of the house.
Okay. And it sounded, seems to me like there were some, based on what Officer Williams told us, there were some people around the house. Where were they?
They were off on one of the corners, probably about 30 to 40 yards away from the house.
Okay. And why don't you tell us, were there several officers there, or just kind of give us a description of that?
Anywhere from around 4 to 6 officers, I would say.
Okay. So the crime scene had been cordoned off, the people were put into a certain area, correct?
They weren't really put in an
Okay.
area, but they were off on a corner somewhere. There were neighbors and, from what I could tell, friends of Travis.
Okay. And tell us what you did when you got up to the house.
We first met with the patrol supervisor,
Okay.
uniform patrol supervisor there, and we received a briefing of what they've received so far, the information, and what they've done up to that point.
Okay. And that was the night of the 9th?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you said you were there till the early morning hours of the 10th?
We were there pretty much the entire day, the rest of the day as well.
Okay. So how long did you stay on that first night?
I don't recall the exact time, but I know it was evening. It was dark when we left on the 10th.
Okay. And then you returned the 10th?
Yes.
In the morning?
Yes.
Okay. And this phone call we just heard about, we just heard excerpts from, I should say. When did that take place?
That took place late morning, early afternoon on the 10th.
Okay. And then when you referenced, during that phone call, you just heard it, correct?
Yes.
You referenced people talking about Miss Arias being a stalker, or how he's around when she wasn't supposed to be, that sort of thing. Where did that information come from?
That information came from some of my fellow officers and fellow detectives who I assigned to go talk and interview some of the people at the scene.
Okay. So they conduct interviews with these various people, and then you discuss what they learned
Yes.
with them. Okay. And did you talk to anyone specifically that night?
We conducted some interviews at the Mesa Police Station. Mimi Hall, who was here testifying, we talked to her and some of the roommates as well.
Okay.
There was 2 roommates in particular.
And that was part of your portion of the initial investigation, right?
Yes.
The part you did yourself. Okay. I want to again focus in on that phone call. Miss Arias told you that Travis's weapons were his 2 fists. You recall hearing that?
Yes.
A few minutes ago? Okay. She also mentioned that he, I think her words were to the effect of, loves beating the crap out of a punching bag.
Yes.
Okay. Was there a punching bag found in the home?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And where was that located?
It was, I would say, the downstairs living room area.
Okay. And could you describe that for us? Because I know sometimes there's punching bags that sit on the ground, sometimes hang from the ceiling.
It's one of the type that sits on the ground. It has the larger base. I don't know, it's filled with water or sand or something.
Okay.
And then it has the punching bag padded area above it.
Okay. And when you found that, or you observed that, and I should back up, you did enter the home that night, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you observed that punching bag, did it look like it was in place, like it had been used recently? Do you know?
I couldn't tell.
Okay. She also mentioned in this phone call that she was employed by Mr. Alexander to clean his home.
Yes.
Okay. Did you later went through, you talked also in this phone call about going through subpoenaing his Facebook, his MySpace, Gmail, all that stuff, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you review those materials?
No, I never subpoenaed him at that time. It was at a later date.
Okay, at a later date.
Yes.
But you did eventually get to reviewing those materials?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember how much later that was?
A year,
Okay.
year and a half.
Year and a half
I
later.
can't remember the specific date, but yeah.
All right. Do you remember seeing an email from Mr. Alexander to Miss Arias where he provides her a picture of the French maid outfit that he would like her to don when she cleans his apartment, or his home, excuse me?
That doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
All right. You also asked Miss Arias about rope or tassels, or when you were talking about the bedding, you specifically brought up rope or tassels. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Could you tell us why you did that?
In part of the scene, we actually saw a small piece of fabric. It appeared to be maybe part of a tassel. And it was right in the middle of the scene in the bathroom.
Okay. A moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Detective, I'm going to hand you Exhibit 271. Exhibit 270. $269. $268. $267. $266. And $265. Now, Detective, I've showed you, do you recognize the exhibits I've put before you?
Yes.
Okay. And as it relates, there are some that relate to the bathroom area, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And there are some that are elsewhere in the house, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you recognize all those photos as true and accurate depictions of the crime scene that you saw that night?
Yes, they are.
Judge, I'd move for the omission of those exhibits.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit 265, 266, 267, 268, 269, 270, and 271 are admitted.
May I hold this, Your Honor?
May.
And for the record, Detective, we're going to begin with Exhibit 270. Could you describe for us what you see there?
Yeah, it's that piece of fabric.
Okay.
Listed as number 8.
Okay.
With placard 8.
And that is the rope or tassel you're referring to with Miss Arias during the phone call?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Detective, I'm going to show you Exhibit 271. And could you advise us what we're seeing there?
Same one as the last one, just at a different angle.
Okay. And again, for the record, Exhibit 265.
Yes, another
Okay.
piece of rope or tassel.
All right. And that was, just so we're clear as well, that's another piece, correct?
A separate piece,
Okay.
also in the bathroom area.
And Detective, if you could describe for us what we see in this exhibit.
That's same as the last one, item number 3, different angle.
And for the record, this is Exhibit 266. Let's see here. Detective, could you describe for us what you see in this exhibit?
You talking about the same placard, number 3?
2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, same as the last. There were also other items there. I believe the other 2 and 4 were hair fibers.
Okay. And as we were talking earlier, pieces of this rope-like substance were also found elsewhere in the home, were they not?
Yes.
I want to show you, for the record, exhibit number 268. And could you describe for us what we see there?
Yes, another piece of the thread or string, tassel, and this was actually on the stairs leading up to the bedroom.
Okay. And this would be that same piece of rope, just further depicting the stairs, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, without the placard.
Okay. Now, in terms of choosing to photograph these items, or do you direct a person to take certain pictures, or how does that work?
Yes, it's up to my direction.
Okay. And so then on, be it on the 9th or the 10th, your attention was drawn to this rope and thought it might be of significance in your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The other bit of conversation you had with Ms. Arias dealt with, she told you when you were discussing the emails, you were talking about getting into his emails, and she was talking about discussions they had while in the email account. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall her saying that he had said several mean things to her?
Yes.
In these emails? And I guess according to your testimony previously, it was about a year and a half later that you actually looked at these emails, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you remember seeing emails in which Mr. Alexander referred to Miss Arias as a, quote, three-hole wonder?
Yes. I
Objection,
do.
hearsay.
As a slut?
Yes.
As a whore?
Yes.
Thank you, Detective.
Redirect.
Why was he referring to her like that? What had she done?
Speculation.
Sustain.
Well, you read that email, right? You responded to defense counsel, didn't you?
Yes.
Any knowledge that you have comes from that email, doesn't it?
Yes.
What did that email say? Why was he upset?
Objection calls for speculation.
Please take a look at Exhibit 275. Are you familiar with that? Yes or no?
Yes, I am.
And with regard to that item, well, what is it, first of all?
It's a copy of instant message emails sent back and
Between whom?
forth between Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander.
And you were asked previously on cross-examination about this reference to a three-hole wonder, correct?
Yes.
Is that the document that contains that reference?
Yes, it is.
with regard to that reference involving that particular comment, why was that comment made as indicated in that document?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained as phrased.
Well, let's go to page 8 at the bottom. At the bottom. What is he complaining about?
What page was that again, sir?
8 at the bottom. Four lines from the bottom.
References to being used sexually by Miss Arias.
What is he saying?
Specifically, let me read it from here. I think I was little more than a dildo with a heartbeat to you.
And that's what he's saying to her, right?
Yes.
In the previous pages, pages 1 and 2 and 3, do they talk about whether or not to tell the truth?
Yes.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. This goes beyond answering the questions post and cross.
Mr. Martinez?
It's part of the same document, and it's part of the reason why he's calling what he's calling her.
There's no link, Judge. I mean, he's had to speculate on the link.
Counselor Price?
Go to page 3 and read the whole page.
It starts with Facebook.
Yes, just read it though.
Okay. Me.
No, read it to yourself.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to read it out loud. Okay.
And in terms of the reference to the three-hole wonder, it's toward the bottom, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead and read the next page, which is 4 of 16, to yourself.
Okay.
What is the context of that comment?
The context throughout those 2 pages is Travis Alexander and Jodi Arias are having a conversation, and Travis is complaining about her lying to him.
Sir, you were asked about some fibers, and these are set out in exhibits numbers 265 through 271. Do you remember those? And I'll start with 265, for example.
Yes.
First of all, you see the scale on there, right? This is exhibit number 265.
Yes.
And what is that word there?
It says metric.
And with regard to these spaces in between, in terms of the metric scale, what are they? Centimeters, millimeters, kilometers, what are they?
The large section
No,
is
this-
the small ones, millimeters?
And how many millimeters are there in an inch?
Approximately 25?
It's a little bit more than 25,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
How much?
Well, there's 2.4 centimeters in an inch, and then there's 10,
So it's 2.54 or 2?
yeah, 2.54.
So you're talking 25.4 millimeters to an inch, right?
Yes.
And so that will tell us, for example, by looking at this, by counting out 25 millimeters, how much an inch is, right?
Yes.
With regard to those particular items there, can you tell whether or not this really is a piece of a rope?
And it looks more like a small thread.
And if you take a look at exhibits 63 and 81, take a look at those, first of all.
Yes.
Do you recognize those?
Yes.
What are those photographs of?
Photographs of the interior of Travis Alexander's house, more in particular his bedroom and part of the bathroom near the shower.
And were those taken back at the time of the investigation of the crime in June of 2008?
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit 63 and 81.
No objection.
Exhibit 63 and 81 will be admitted.
Let's take a look at exhibit 63. What are we looking at here?
A photograph of Travis Alexander's bedroom.
And specifically, what is this item here?
Those are throw pillows,
And what's around the corners of those throw pillows?
tassel-like fibers.
Those tassel-like fibers, if we take a look at exhibit number 265, you were there. Can you tell us whether or not they're similar to those?
Objection, possible speculation.
Yes, they are.
And let me show you another exhibit. It's exhibit number 271. You see this that's on there? This item here, you see that?
Yes, I do.
Take a look at exhibits numbers 64 and 68.
Okay.
Those are photographs. Are they true and accurate depictions of an area and an item from the scene as it existed back when the investigation was being conducted in June of 2008?
Yes, they are.
Move to the admission of exhibits 64 and 68.
Admitted.
This is exhibit 64. And orient us a little bit. What are we looking at here?
Looking at the interior of Travis Alexander's bedroom, looking from just behind the entry door. You can actually see the door on the right-hand side, door handle. And you're looking, what direction? Kind of like a northeast direction into the bedroom.
What does this door lead to?
That one is actually to the closet that parallels the hallway into the bathroom.
And exhibit number, and there is something in the middle here, this photograph, the first one, 264, correct? Right there?
Yes, the sandals.
Okay. Then if we take a look at exhibit 68, that's a close-up of what?
The sandals in the middle of the room.
And with regard to these sandals, do they have any covering on them where a person would step?
Yes, full of fibers.
And you see this right here. What is this? These items that are sticking out from around the sandals?
Those are the actual fibers that the sandals are covered with.
And then if we take a look at exhibit number 271, what is that? In your opinion, could that be, is that consistent with having come from those shoes?
Yes, it is consistent.
In looking through this whole house, was there ever a rope that was found?
No.
So if there had been a rope there and you didn't find it, what would have happened to the rope?
Objection calls for speculation. It's beyond the scope of cross.
Overruled.
We would have taken it.
I know, but if it wasn't there, would you have taken it?
No.
If somebody had taken it before you, would you have taken it?
No, I couldn't have.
But did you find any long lengths of rope or anything like that when you were there?
No.
And did you find, for example, in Exhibit 63, was that bedroom examined?
Yes, it was.
Was the area here around the bed examined?
Yes.
Was the area, Exhibit number 64, was the area right around here examined?
Yes.
And I mean the lower portion. Did any officers look underneath the bed?
Yes.
Did they look behind the headboard?
Yes.
Was there ever a knife found anywhere near there?
No.
Was there ever any rope found anywhere near there? In other words, any of these little strands that we're talking about, were any of those found anywhere near the bed?
No.
You talked about cordoning off the street and that sort of thing when you got there, and the house being cordoned off. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
What's the purpose of that?
To secure the residence, to keep anybody from going in and disturbing any evidence.
So that from the time that the police received the call till the time the first police officer came, that meant that nobody had access to that place, correct?
That's correct.
And how long did you keep the scene open, or how long was the scene secured, so to speak?
Almost 3 days.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
I have one question from a juror. Are there any other questions from the jury? If there are questions, ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand, and if you need some time to write it out, just let me know and we will wait for you. Question for you. Are the exhibits number 272, 273, and 274 from the same conversation?
What exhibits are those? Could I see them again?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Mr. Nerman, you may recross and follow up on the juror question if you have anything.
Thank you, Your Honor. A moment, please. Detective, do you still have exhibits up with you?
Yes.
And if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
Detective, I'm going to go, well, actually, I'll tell you what, we will put up Exhibit 63. Again, Mr. Martinez showed you that just a minute ago.
You recall seeing that?
Yes.
Okay. based on the observations you made, and I believe what you told us was that this picture accurately depicts what you saw at the crime scene on June 9th and or June 10th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it would appear that those pillows are in an unmolested state. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And you recall Mr. Martinez also asked you about a pair of sandals or flip-flops with some fibers on them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me step back a bit. Mesa Police Department, how long have you been employed there?
19 years?
Okay, so you're pretty familiar with the practices and the procedures and those sort of things, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I suspect then, could you tell us whether Mesa Police Department has a crime lab?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And what sort of things does that crime lab do?
Everything from DNA typing, fingerprint analysis, blood work, those kinds of things.
Okay. So if they had known fibers, for example, from these pillows or from sandals or that sort of thing, they could compare that against items you found at the crime scene, correct?
Our lab does not do that.
Okay. So you could there would be no way for you to compare?
We would have to send those out to another lab.
Okay. Was that done?
No.
Okay. So the estimation you're making that these are similar characteristics are just based on your observation, not any actual data or testing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez?
Those 3 exhibits or the 3 DVDs that you have in front of you, those were from the same conversation, correct?
Yes, they were.
What date was the conversation that you had of those 3 DVDs?
They were June 10th, 2008.
And who initiated that? In other words, I know you made the call, but were you returning a call?
I was returning a call.